Today on Public Eye News, we have updates on the storm that swept through the Upper Peninsula Tuesday.
Dan Campanen will have our weather forecast, and Dylan Ranget will update us on World Series action. Hi, I'm Max Stevens.
And I'm Andre Vigtor. Welcome to Public Eye News. Marquette Police and Fire are still searching for a couple that may have been swept into Lake Superior Tuesday. Police believe 53-year-old Robert Anderson and 37-year-old Sarah Hall fell into the lake when massive waves slammed into the cliffs at Black Rocks. The efforts are now more likely to become a recovery mission than a rescue, said Captain Michael Kohler. Police have closed off Lakeshore Boulevard and Presque Isle as the investigation continues. And NMU's annual Halloween attraction sets up for another thrilling and chilling weekend as Haunted Theater takes over the Forrest Roberts Theater once again. Presented by the First Nighters Club and FRT, the 9th annual event consists of 40 volunteers from all over Marquette and is a fun opportunity to learn about theater from a unique, non-traditional perspective. Tickets can be purchased online and at the Forrest Roberts Theater box office. Shows run Thursday and Friday from 7 to 11 and Saturday from 6 to 11.
UPCO crews and contractors completed their power restoration efforts yesterday after power was knocked out for many during Tuesday's huge storm. At the time of posting, UPCO believes all customers affected by Tuesday's storm have now been restored. Any customer that's still without power is being asked to report the outage by calling their toll-free number. During the storm, trees or limbs may have fallen onto service lines that connect a customer's home or business, possibly damaging electric service equipment such as meters and masts. If this occurred, UPCO will inform you that your equipment is damaged. And detectives from Upset assisted Houghton County Sheriff's Department when a meth lab was located at a residence in Chassell on Wednesday. A deputy from the Houghton County Sheriff's Department and a parole officer from the Michigan Department of Corrections went to the residence to locate a woman that was on probation and had outstanding warrants. Upon searching the suspect's residence, officers located components used to make and manufacture meth, like solvent, lithium, lye, sulfuric acid, as well as several meth 1-pots. The suspect was lodged at the Houghton County Jail on outstanding fugitive warrants. Additional charges for manufacturing meth are expected. There was a 4-year-old child in the residence that was turned over to Child Protective Services. And Michigan Department of Transportation's most recent project has the north and southbound lanes of US 241 and M35 closed. The bridge over the Escanaba River is scheduled to close from October 31st at 10 a.m. and end at midnight the same day. MDOT is investigating $20.5 million to replace both the US 2 bridge and the E and LS Railroad Bridge over US 2, which will cover 2 years and include replacing both road and railroad track. And residents in Alger County have been reaching out to neighbors in need after Tuesday's massive storm. Many in Autrain Township gathered at the community center for warmth after power was knocked out in many homes. An Autrain grocery provided food for anyone who was there taking shelter. Town Supervisor Michelle Doucette is welcoming anyone to use the center while power is being restored. And after the break, we'll be back with national and international news. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Delin, the host of Ask the Doctors. Please join me and many of my colleagues this season for Ask the Doctors. All year long, we will explore important medical topics, talk about new treatments, and most importantly, answer your questions with doctors live in our studio. So join us this Thursday for Ask the Doctors right here on Public TV 13.
Watch tonight at 8 for an episode on general health.
And welcome back. 2 weeks ago, battery makers Tesla and Sonnen pledged to build microgrids and deliver batteries to hospitals and other critical infrastructure in Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, which wiped out power to nearly all of the island's electricity customers. Today, Tesla tweeted that Hospital del Niño, a children's hospital in Puerto Rico, was the first of many solar plus storage projects going live. Microgrids have often been cited as infrastructure to improve electric resiliency. They tend to be small, community-based systems that run on solar power, batteries, wind, or diesel generators, which can be quickly repaired and linked up to other microgrids in case of failure. The Puerto Rican government has promised its citizens that 95% of PREPA's customers will have power again by December 31st, but some still have doubts. And President Trump is one step closer to building his much-promised border wall. Today is the deadline for contractors to finish building their prototypes. Danielle Nottingham is in San Diego with a closer look.
massive walls sit near a border crossing between California and Mexico. 6 different construction companies built these prototypes for President Trump's proposed southern border wall.
These prototypes are vitally important for the future of border security here in San Diego as well as the southwest border.
Each life-size model costs between $300,000 to $500,000. 4 are made of concrete. The rest are concrete and other materials, including steel. The height requirement was between 18 to 30 feet, but they all meet the maximum, with varying designs, including rounded tops and one with steel mesh and spikes. The next step is to test the walls to see how each one can handle being climbed over, cut through, and dug underneath.
We're going to look at all of these features, look at what works, what doesn't work. 2
are constructed with slats on the bottom, giving visibility of the other side. Environmentalists have raised questions about a solid wall preventing animal migration. Right now, decades-old fencing runs along about 1/3 of the 1,900-mile U.S.-Mexico border. Last year, Border Patrol agents detained more than 31,000 people and seized thousands of pounds of illegal drugs. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, San Diego.
President Trump recently announced plans to declare the opioid crisis in America a nationwide public health emergency, a move that has left some scratching their heads. The declaration, according to officials, does not bring any excess dollars to the solution, but does allow them to use current funds in more ways to better fight the crisis. Many, including Democratic House Leader Nancy Pelosi, see the move as, quote, words without money, unquote. Funds could allow more treatment centers to use drugs like Suboxone, a combination drug used to combat addiction in desperate areas of the country. And people flying to the U.S. will face new security screenings starting today, including more detailed inspection of electronics and possible interviews from airline employees. Terry Okita reports from London.
Airlines worldwide began questioning flyers about their trips and their luggage in the latest Trump administration decision affecting global travel.
Like if I'm carrying new food items, if I have any souvenirs for other people.
The stricter procedures already in place for some airlines apply to all U.S.-bound flights. They're aimed at stopping the threat of hidden explosives with more detailed checks on electronics.
We need heightened security. I'm all for it. I'm all for Trump.
Air France passengers are now required to fill out a questionnaire before flying. This man in Paris said the extra security surprised him. The measures will affect around 325,000 passengers a day on about 2,100 flights. The rules replace the temporary carry-on laptop ban imposed for planes coming from airports in 8 predominantly Muslim countries. There were concerns terrorists could hide bombs in them. President Trump gave airlines 4 months to enhance security screening procedures for U.S.-bound flights. With that deadline now up, airlines say passengers should arrive early and expect delays. Terry Okita, CBS News, London.
Opposition supporters boycotted Thursday's rerun of Kenya's disputed presidential election, clashing with police in some parts of the East African country and forcing authorities to postpone voting in areas affected by the violence. At least 3 people were killed. Most polling stations closed as scheduled at 5 p.m. and vote counting began, although election officials said sites that opened late because of what they called logistical challenges could stay open later. Polling stations in some areas supporting opposition leader Raila Odinga didn't open at all because of sporadic unrest in which police fired bullets and tear gas at stone-throwing protesters who heeded his call for a boycott and maintained the election was not credible. Late yesterday, police said they were investigating information that some individuals plan to attack convoys of vehicles carrying ballots to counting centers in some counties. And after the break, stay tuned because Dan will have our weather and Dylan will have our sports.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. This week on UTR, we find Frankfurt for some mammals you'll want to meet. We'll also show you a cloud with an amber lining and a company that sends Michigan fruit far and wide. Then we drive to Dexter for terrific trails, some intercontinental confections, and a barbecue that brings back the Old West. This UTR, you gotta see.
Tonight at 9:30, Friday at 5, and Saturday at 10:30.
Hi, I'm Dan Campen, and welcome back to your Public Eye News. As you can see outside on the campus of Northern Michigan University today, it's a little bit rainy, very cold, and definitely a gray, cloudy day. So you kind of maybe just going to want to stay inside, read a good book. It's cloudy, temperature of 46 degrees, winds out of the southeast at 13 miles an hour, and a barometric pressure of 29.83 inches and falling. Tonight we can expect rain, a low of 40 degrees, and winds out of the east at 20 to 30 miles an hour. Tomorrow we can expect some more rain, a high of 42, and winds out of the east and northeast at 25 to 35 miles an hour. All around the UP, it's pretty cloudy today. Over in Sault Ste. Marie, we got 42 with a little bit of sun showing through. Completely cloudy in Manistee and 46. 49 and mostly sunny in Escanaba and 48 in Menominee. It is also 48 over here in Iron Mountain, and it is 46 in Ironwood and raining, and it's 46 in Houghton, and it is 46 and cloudy here in Marquette. Let's take a look at your weekend ahead. On Saturday, we can expect a high of 40 degrees and a low of 28 degrees and some rainy skies. On Sunday, we're going to have a high of 44, a low of 34, and mostly cloudy skies. And on Monday, we're going to have a high of 43, a low of 29, and rainy skies. So, Dylan, I hear last night's Lakers and Wizards game was balls to the wall.
Yes, it was. It was actually a phenomenal game. The anticipated matchup of John Wall and Lonzo Ball took place in Los Angeles last night. The matchup between the two standout guards was hyped up by outspoken LeVar Ball, the father of Lonzo, saying, quote, "Lonzo ain't losing again, not in the same week," end quote. John Wall's teammate Marcin Gortat then responded on Twitter by saying Wall will torture Ball for 48 minutes. Ultimately, the Lakers and Ball came out with the overtime win over the Wizards as Ball ended with 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists, and Wall ended the night with 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 9 assists. For our Thursday night football game, we have an AFC matchup as the Baltimore Ravens will host the Miami Dolphins. Miami will be looking to increase their win streak, even though starting quarterback Jay Cutler will sit out with a rib injury as backup Matt Moore will take his place. Baltimore coach John Harbaugh said that the change at quarterback will not affect his game plan going into tonight's game. Baltimore is looking to bounce back after their 24-16 loss against the Minnesota Vikings last week. During Game 2 of the World Series last night, the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers set a new record of 8 combined home runs in a single game. 2 of the home runs were hit off the starter for Houston and former Detroit Tiger Justin Verlander, as those were the only 2 hits he allowed all game. In one of the craziest games that baseball has ever seen, the Houston Astros completed the comeback in extra innings, picking up the win 7-6. So, the Dodgers couldn't find the ghost to help them win, but I heard you have a ghost story of yourself in the Bronx Zoo.
The Bronx is haunted. A baby ghost cat is making the Bronx its new haunt. The Wildlife Conservation Society's Bronx Zoo announced Thursday that the female snow leopard cub has made its public debut just in time for Halloween. Snow leopards are sometimes called ghost cats because of their pale gray coats that allow them to easily blend into rocks and snow. It is the second-generation offspring of a famous snow leopard named Leo, who was found as an orphan cub in the high mountains of northern Pakistan in 2005. The cat was brought to the Bronx Zoo in 2006 in a historic collaboration with the U.S. and Pakistan governments. And in other random news, in Alaska, it's not uncommon for wildlife like polar bears to wander onto an airport's runway, but a lounging seal is a lot more than usual. But that's what workers found at the airport in the nation's northernmost city on Monday. A seal estimated to weigh 450 pounds was removed from the airport at Ugarvik by the way of sled. The State Department of Transportation got in on the fun by warning pilots of low ceilings at the airport. The workers have seen birds, caribou, polar bears, and muskox on the runway, but the seal sighting was a first. And with that, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Public Eye News, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.